Hey guys, welcome to this week's video. This last week I completed a course on Insight Timer by Anne-Marie Rowley called Pathways to Inner Peace. Insight Timer is a great app if you aren't familiar with it that has free meditations. There are courses on there and it's really worth checking out. In the course, Anne-Marie introduced the idea of transforming expectations into intentions. And while this isn't a new idea, I thought it was a really nice way of framing this idea. So as we kick off the conversation this week, well, I'll start with some definitions and then we can talk about examples and how it kind of looks more practically in our lives. So expectations are those ideas that we set up for ourselves based on external measures. So that might be expectations we have for our, like say our body based on messages that we've gotten about what is attractive, or expectations of what success in our career looks like based on our family of origin and what they find successful. The test for expectations is that we're looking outside of ourselves for measuring the value and worth of something. Whereas intention is based on what is important to us. So it's based in our values. When we check in with ourselves and we look at what's important to us, separate from the messages that we've gotten, and then we line up our beliefs and our thoughts and our behaviors based on that, then we start to create the life that we want for ourselves. And at the same time, we're expanding our sense of self-worth because we're basing what is important to us on what's important to us and not what's important to other people around us. You know, the trick with expectations is that we never meet those. They're never really satisfying. If we're relying on external measures to value what is how we feel about ourselves or what is important to us, then there's never enough of that. There's never enough money, there's never enough success, there are never enough muscles. There are never enough external things to fill our sense of self-worth. So how do we transform expectations into intentions? And we do that by being aware of them, by being curious about what narratives are around things that are important to us. And we do it by building mindfulness and by being aware of our feelings and our inner landscape. So an example of kind of how I see this come up in conversations with clients a lot of times is in around primary romantic relationships. So I think, I don't think, a message that pretty much all of us have gotten growing up in the society we've grown up in, around religions, in our families of origin, is that a long-term monogamous romantic relationship with one person is the gold standard, and that's what is valuable. It's what we get messages about constantly, that's valuable. And we get the opposite messages that that being single is problematic, that it's something that has to be fixed, that I think the entire basis of Sex and the City is that struggling with that idea of being single versus being in a relationship. Can we be single and be okay with all of these messages that it's not okay to be single and that we should be in long-term romantic relationships? So this isn't saying, I'm not saying that being in a long-term romantic relationship is problematic or there's anything wrong with that. It's a really wonderful, life-enriching thing. The problem is that when we value this expectation over other things like our own well-being, valuing being present and being single, valuing other relationships, deep and meaningful relationships, then it becomes problematic. So if, say, I'm single now, I'm holding on to this idea that being in a long-term romantic relationship is the gold standard and that's most valuable. Well, I'm 42 years old and I'm not in that, so that sets up a lot of problems for me. Am I doing something wrong? Is there something wrong with me? You can kind of see where when we buy fully into messages that may not be completely our own, and we value those over everything, that it can become problematic. So being in a relationship can be important to me, and I can also really value my well-being, self-care, creating deep and meaningful relationships outside of a romantic relationship. And then that transforms that expectation into intention. It also puts me into a place where when I'm meeting folks, I'm meeting them from this place of wholeness and wellness and not trying to meet this expectation that is not my own. So this, applies to all different kinds of areas of our life. It can apply to our health and what we think of our bodies, how we treat our bodies, what expectations might be there that we can transform into intentions that are centered in what's important to us. Career is something that we often get a lot of messages about, and we get attached to those expectations. How do we question those and transform those into intentions that are based in what's important to us? So I'm curious to hear from you guys, in any of these areas or other areas, if there are, expectations that maybe are worth questioning or looking at, and how do you transform those into intention, and how do we transform our thoughts and our beliefs and our behaviors into intentional ones rather than ones that are constantly trying to meet expectations. So I love to hear from you guys. I actually get a lot of ideas for these videos from hearing from you. So I would love for you to drop those in the comments below. You can contact me through my website at innersunpsychotherapy.com. There's a contact form on there. Or you can, again, just leave in the comments, your comments on this video. Also what you want to hear about, what you want to have conversations about, what you would like for me to explore some more. I would love to hear those things as we build this community together. So thanks for watching this week. I hope you have a great week. Take good care.